Alistair, how many people have you seen? They come to you and they will spend 17 minutes talking about what the thing is, what the fandangled thing that they built yesterday on the thing. And you're like, I don't even know what it does. I don't even know what you were solving. I still don't know. 17 minutes after you're talking to me. That's problematic. And of course, that's a problem within pitching and fundraising and stuff.
Hi everyone, this is Alistair, and thanks for tuning in to the Venture Variety Show. If you work in venture or you're connected on LinkedIn to platform professionals, or maybe you know some marketing people who focus on venture-backed startups, you've probably seen posts on LinkedIn or reshares of this book called Flack Fairy. The author of the book is Beck Bamberger, and Beck joins me in today's episode of the Venture Variety Show. Beck is founder of the marketing agency BAM. She's based in San Diego, and she talks about the book and why she wrote it and the lessons for founders, what they can learn about their narrative and their story. Beck also talks about the impact of AI on the marketing industry, and she also discusses the current outlook in the venture world. So let's jump in and meet Beck. Hi, Beck. How are you?
Alistair, buried in abundance, blessed and stressed. Blessed and stressed. Listen, and you want to play in the venture world? Blessed and stressed.
Well, I can't ask for a better intro than that.
Thanks. It's true.
Yes, we're all blessed in abundance. This is the best of time.
You know, we are buried in abundance. So, like, anytime you're like, oh, I'm so slammed, I'm so busy and stuff, like, thank God you are. Thank God you are. And we were just talking about this in BAM, BAM's my agency, that I would choose my problems, I would choose our problems 100 times, 1,000 times over compared to other problems that people have, that countries have, that organizations have, blah, blah, blah. Like these problems, that's fine. That's fine. You know what I mean? So that's really my perspective. So this is good, Alistair. This is good.
Well, this is great. Well, and this is a great example of why I wanted to have you on the show, because
thank you.
Although I don't always manifest it well myself, I enjoy people with a positive attitude.
Thank you. Alistair, as I was saying to just to people, like the bad news is we all die. The good news is we all die. So live now. This is it. This is it. How wonderful is that?
You got only one life, live it. Memento mori, right?
As far as we know, yes. Amor fati from the Stokes.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Amor fati. Enjoy the fate.
You're right.
Enjoy the fate, whatever it is.
In my defense, I have a few things swimming around in my head right now. Yes, amor fati. Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. And shout out to the White Lotus for using that as a title on their episode.
I noticed that. I thought, oh, look at them pulling like writing that in the script, whatever. Oh my God.
Well, people aren't tuning in to just hear two old friends chit chat, although, we could talk about what's going on as well. Beck, I've known you for a long time.
I know, Alistair.
One thing I've always admired about you is you know a lot of people. You do a lot of work in the venture industry, and you know a lot of companies. What is it that you do? What is BAM?
So BAM is the agency I created 15 plus years ago that works with all venture-backed technology companies, including venture funds as well. And we accelerate their fundraising and their exits via the power of storytelling. And that's usually in editorial media coverage. However, it also embodies marketing. It embodies now, strong LinkedIn games. It does earned content, owned content. I don't know if this is where I mentioned my book, Alistair, but I wrote this book to help founders
Flack
specifically
Fairy.
Understand, navigating PR and media for venture-backed startups, because I really saw that there is not an equivalent to this one, Venture Deals by Brad Feld. Shout out to Brad, who wrote this for founders to understand, like term sheets, deal flow, and everything. Be smarter than your lawyer. Be smarter than your VCs. Hopefully, it's not that hard. Let's be frank. And so I wanted, hey, founders, media is very intimidating to a lot of them. And there was not a nice, quick, you could read this in a weekend type of thing that's straightforward, that's digestible, and really gives you legit, real examples of pitches that place, press releases, media personas, how to boost your earned media through your sales channels, and so forth. Because used effectively, it's a phenomenal strategy, but not all founders know how to navigate it. So Hence, I wrote this for our founder community.
Do you think the book is more ideal for venture-backed founders, or can it be for anyone?
I specifically wrote it in the venture-backed lexicon and viewpoint. So the voice of it is straightforward and coaching-esque. It's similar to Brad's, where it's like, hey, I'm here to be helpful to you, but like, get your shit together. Here's how you're going to look at this, and this is what you need to do. So it's cut and dry in that, and it uses a lot of the vernacular of just our industry. Specifically, that's why I called it fairy. I was like, we all know unicorn, which is now kind of an aged term, but I was like, what else is magical out there? And Flack kind of has a a negative connotation. Oh, you're the Flack, it's like, oh, you're the PR person, right? Succession had a mention of that, of like, I'm the Flack, or some show. And I was like, oh, we need to use that, and I love alliteration. So it is really specific to venture-backed startups, and venture capitalists could definitely read it as well.
Great. What about journalists? Should they be reading it?
You can. Let me know what you think. If you're like, oh, no, she spilled all the secrets. But you know what, Elstar? Here's the thing, and I mentioned this in the acknowledgments. There is no mention of any journalists in there, nor, founder name. There's a couple little examples I use of publicly traded companies, but other than that, no mentions, no names dropped. That is unbecoming and not needed, so we did not do that.
Speaking of alliteration, nail your narrative. One that kind of stuck out to me, nailing the narrative. To me, it feels like that's an area, especially first-time founders, that they just don't know. Maybe they're. Is it that they're just listening to too many other people? Do they just have a different? They just have a different mindset. I find that. Explaining who you are, your narrative is hard for a lot of founders.
Yes, and this is where I want to give shout out to Don Valentine, who's the late founder of Sequoia Capital. We use this in our pitch deck for the fund I'm building, but his quote exactly, I'm going to actually read it, and I do mention it in the book. The art of storytelling is incredibly important, and many, maybe even most, of the entrepreneurs who come to talk to us can't tell the story. Learning to tell a story is incredibly important because that's how money works. The money flows as a function of the story, end quote. The money flows as a function of the story. So you're totally right. Now what is the function of that? Why are founders bad at storytelling? Most of them are super technical, super nerds. They're great. We want to do mathematical models, we'll be here all day, no problem. But narrative, and more of a soft skill or a different side of brain, whatever you want to say, is not usually embedded in technical, at least, founders. Not usually. There are exceptions, but not usually. So getting it succinctly nailed and then consistently keeping it such is fundamental and often missed. Again, why I wrote the book. Like, get the narrative done. Alistair, how many people have you seen? They come to you and they will spend 17 minutes talking about what the thing is, what the fandangled thing that they built yesterday on the thing. And you're like, I don't even know what it does. I don't even know what you were solving. I still don't know. 17 minutes after you talking to me. That's problematic. And of course, that's a problem within pitching and fundraising and stuff. VCs, now I will say, VCs have bigger tolerance for that because they just want to know, am I going to make a lot of money from this? Okay, maybe they're crappy with this. But that is still essential for fundraising. Nailing that narrative. Can you succinctly do that? And it's really essential if you want to ever have any media coverage. That's it.
Yeah. What's the best way for folks to learn? Is it just having someone like you tell them the straight dope? Like,
we'll see. This is why I don't want to tell you, Alistair. Just read this, please.
Okay.
Please read this, and then you ask questions.
Well,
okay. The reason I wrote this is I was at a happy hour with our VC comms community, and I'm like, oh my God, I've heard this question. It was about funding information, funding release. It was like the third time. It was only Tuesday, Alistair, and I'm like, I cannot. It's the same question. So I'm like, please, we need a resource. We need a place where this is all distilled. You can consume it, you read it, and then you can ask questions. Then you can ask. So the function of why are these questions the same all the time? There's lack of resources. You can argue, oh, maybe you're just lazy, you're not Googling it enough or something, but it's a mysterious kind of industry, and I did not see anything that was as fundamental and straightforward as venture deals. And so I'm like, I just have to do this because there needs to be clarity and understanding about this weird field that we exist in. So that's what I suggest, fundamentally that. Secondly, your venture platform person, who hopefully is the comms marketing head, not only should have this book, because I sent it to all of them, as you know, Alstar, but also should be able to be a guide to some degree. Now, the quality, the level of expertise of those people vary greatly, of course, as expertise of founders does. Right? So.
Well, as a longtime journalist, I can say that it happens a lot. Going back to your story of having a founder not know to talk 17 minutes or however long and still not know what it is that they do or what they're trying to solve or what the narrative.
And they do in their mind, typically. It's very clear, yeah. Typically, up here, it's the articulation that is failing. Maybe all of our AI platforms are going to help founders get this boiled down more. I am not too hopeful, but you never know.
Yeah, that was going to be my next follow-up question. Beck, you're reading my mind. Is AI making a mess of this, or can AI help people?
Oh, I think this is,
narrative.
You can, no, I think it is tremendously powerful. AI in its best versions, I think for a lot of people even right now, are like a collaborator. I was walking with a friend of mine today. He's a solopreneur. He does big speaking gigs. So he speaks for a living. He writes books and all this good stuff. He's like, oh, it's my collaborator. I talk to it every day. It knows me. It understands my voice, my tone, and everything. I think it's a massive collaborator. Now, does that replace public relations people or the industry of PR people? No, it does not, because this is a relationship-based business, and it's more complicated than a prompt that you get out of an AI thing. Yes, can it draft your LinkedIn post or something? Sure. And then you edit it? Yeah, sure. Yeah, we're all doing that. Yeah, that's great. But that is barely the function of what public relations and then really your perception is in the marketplace.
How is
I hope that answered your question. Yeah.
No, it does answer it. It does address it. But just a follow up, how are you seeing AI impact marketing, like your own?
Oh, every day it changes. Yeah. Every day it's changing.
Every day.
I mean, every day it changes. So still, my hot take for you, Alistair, is that we are on the brink of what I am calling the relationship revolution, the in-person revolution. People who love people who love gathering people who like being in person. We have two major wins happening right here, like tailwinds happening. One, COVID, which was obviously a globally experienced thing. Isolation, loneliness, all that stuff. A lot of people hated that. There were some people who flourished, definitely, but a lot of, we found like, oh, we need connection, we need relationships. That's number one tailwind. Number two tailwind is this one that we're in right now with AI. Both of those are very long tailwinds. This is going to be impacting humanity for the next centuries, for sure. My take. So right now, what a moment to be in a space where you go like, great, while AI finishes and does all that stuff over there and like helps me write copy and helps me draft a press release, wow, how do I bring people together to experience something, to fall in love with the product, to get a story, to get the story actually done and covered? That's the real magic. So if you love people, this is a time to be alive. Because a lot of AI stuff will do the BS stuff with people who have to sit behind a spreadsheet. Or I'm sorry, my favorite example, TSA agents. Listen, that job is done. I can't wait, because why are there 17 at 2 checkout gates, Alistair? Why? Telling you to put your computer not in the... there's going to be a lot of shakeout. For comms marketing people, what a time to be alive, because it's about relationships and it's about being in person like never before.
Relationships matter.
They do. They do.
That's how you tell the narrative, isn't it? By building the relationship, going back to the Flack Fairy.
Yeah, you're a magical little creature, And honestly, for a founder to understand and like connect the dots of like, oh, how is it relationships? It's like, hey, why do the same founders get the same money from the same VCs? It's relationships. Now, did they make a lot of money from each other? Yes, but of course that was a developed relationship, and this is one of the toughest relationships because it's building startups, which is no easy feat. So same thing happens in media. Alistair, I've known you forever. You know people, so you can pick up a call, you can send an email. Guess what? The story can get done via that relationship. So it's the same equivalent in fundraising to some extent. Yes, you can cold outreach a bunch of VCs, Or maybe you already know Excel and Bain and G Capital, and they're going to be like, yeah, cool, come in and pitch on Tuesday. Same thing. It's all relationships.
It's all relationships. Can I expand on that? So I was I was a journalist for a long time.
Yeah. Yes.
To be more specific, I covered business for almost 30 years, and I did other things before that. I learned early on business reporting wasn't about numbers; it was about people. That was like inbred in me, like, or that's not the right word. It was instilled in me very early on that the stories that I had to cover were about people, not and the dollar figures were just part of the story, but the main thrust was the people.
Yes, it's all people. We're all doing the things. We're all making the deals. Here's the thing. Tell me that is AI going to negotiate and get your term sheet done? Probably not. Not maybe for now. Is AI going to get the story published? Is AI going to broker a peace deal? Probably not. It's going to, like what a magical time for humans to be living as humans, as creatures of connection, versus typing and trying to do a damn spreadsheet or thing. So you can hear Alistar, like I'm very bullish on it. Yes, just like the internet, there will be dark, horrible things about it. Yes, but there will be some magical, phenomenal things that come out of this, which will probably mean people not behind a spreadsheet typing on a form for 8 hours a day, as one tiny example.
Oh, that's great. And I'm right there with you. And let's go back to let me try to regain my stoic cred here, and let's go back to what we were saying at the beginning. And you can't really fear this because, those who worry more before it's necessary, worry more than is necessary. We can't really worry about AI. We can be mindful, we could be deliberate, but we can't just say, oh, this is awful, this is going to ruin everything.
Alistar, what I say, this is my stoic take on it. It's like, the bad news is we all die. The good news is we all die. So what are you going to do with that information?
Yeah, make the most of it.
Make the most of it. Make the most of it. Well, this is the adventure we know.
Well, as I've been leaning into coverage of AI, in my collaboration with AInews.com, and the subject of jobs comes up a lot. So I just want to talk about AI just for one more moment here and say,
I'm here all day.
Do you see it impacting marketing roles? Are agencies going to become smaller?
But I think they're going to get smarter real quick. They're going to have to. Because, again, if you're the lower rank and file and all you're doing is pushing meeting notes across and like drafting a press release from total scratch, that's probably not necessary anymore. It is not right now, even all over again. So the bar only rises, and that is fantastic, in my opinion. Yes, will agencies be smaller and shrunk and things of that sort? Probably. Again, if you hate people and you just are like, you want to be behind in a desk, never seen the light of day, and you cannot stand people, I'm sorry, your job is probably gone. It's probably gone. AI is going to take something. If you love people, you like being out and about, you like coming up with the strategies, the story angles, you want to see the clients and blah, blah, blah. Again, what a time to be alive. I was talking with a new grad yesterday who was referred to me because I like to talk to, any grad who's coming out and they're, so scared mostly. It's like, what a time to be alive. You love people, this is everything. This is everything. Relationships, gatherings, putting people together, making things happen. That's what humans are for. Not doing little coding crap. No. And you know what's so funny to me? I was thinking about this yesterday.
Sure.
Remember like just 10 years ago, 5 years ago, oh, you got to know how to code. You got to know how to code. Like you got to know how to code. Guess what? You don't know how to code. You just vibe code. Tell me this is what I want. It programs it. Yep. Why? Because like that's just like monkey coding. That's like putting the wheels on the Ford truck way back when. Well, I know there's still people doing that because we haven't automated everything. But like that's the equivalent. You don't need to know how to code anymore. You need to know how to talk. You need to know how to make a deal. That's what we are now here for.
Well, that's very good. Very good. Well, speaking of people, you associate a lot with venture capitalists. You work with many. You know, probably more than I do. maybe I'll start. Maybe. I covered venture for a long time, and so I say that
I take
100% truthfully. You probably know a lot of people. What's your take on what's going on in the venture world? There's
Oh,
certainly, I imagine, the audience right now tuning in, mostly entrepreneurs.
hmm
I assume marketing people and investors are also tuning in,
hmm
but it's been a rather slowly developing year. I mean, we're seeing venture fundraising. I just saw Uncork announced a fund,
Oh, I know. I just saw that for
you know,
300 million. Shout out
300 million.
Ashley Craven. She does her fun. Yeah. Uh, Now, do you mean on the take of like raising funds, or you mean on what they're doing with the money they get?
I mean, the deploying of the capital
Oh,
from the
deploying of
venture
the coin.
capital.
Nothing has changed, Alstar, in my opinion. No, because why? VCs fundamentally and consistently, depending on the wave, follow along and trickle along and want to not miss out on whatever they think is the hottest dang thing. Right now, guess what? It's AI. That's why 87% of the deals, or 72%, whatever PitchBook just came out with, is like, oh, guess what? Oh, it's all AI. Just like it was. Just how many cycles, Alstar, have we seen? How many cycles, right? Now, the question is it going to be like the green bust? Probably not, to tell you the truth. It is way more mountainous than that. Or is it going to be like crypto where it implodes? Yeah, maybe. Are there going to be lots and lots and lots and lots of duds and zombies out there? Yes. Oh, yes. Yes.
For
But
sure.
is this the time of the '07, '08 era, I think, when we got Uber and Airbnb and all these other colossal big companies? Yes. Oh, yes. So what a time. There will be lots and lots and lots of wasted money and lost money for sure. And cemeteries filled with companies that go bust. Absolutely. But will this change our complete society once again? Oh, 100%. So from a VC perspective, no, they're doing the same thing they always do. They're chasing deals, they're chasing their tails, they're chasing who got the check in. They're all, I'm sorry, they're all the same. I know all of them, Alstar, so I know this is like what they do. And that's totally fine because they don't want to miss out on the billions and billions and billions that are out there that some of these are going to make, for sure, for sure. But in the meantime, yeah, lots and lots of money will be lost once again.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned
What changes? Nothing.
that time frame, right? The late aughts, right?
Yeah,
Whatever you want to call that period when we saw
yeah.
Facebook, Twitter, Uber,
Oh, yeah.
Airbnb,
What a time.
Pinterest, all these hugely.
We're in it again right now. Right now. This
I
is
was
it.
just gonna say, what's
Like
different about
for me,
today?
I'm like, this is so exciting. How exciting.
Yeah.
Who is it going to be? Who is it going to be? We'll
Uh,
see.
yeah, my take is also that yes, there is fundraising going on, and that's okay that it's not as robust as it was 5 years ago. That was an insane period of fundraising.
Oh yeah, in 21. No, I never want to see those days again, frankly, because I never want to see people getting $100,000 as a signing bonus to work at whatever insert hot shot company there is. We are long from the days, I think, and I'm very happy about this. Like the pendulum has swung back to not scarcity, but prudence in terms of ridiculousness of office perks and ridiculousness of all the things that people used to get and so forth. I think that time is done. Now there will be the very flashy places or just personas of founders that lean towards that, but I think it's more stoic and it's more like we need a smaller team. We don't have a fancy office. There's numerous quotes that you've seen. I think it was from Eric Schmidt, who was always like, "Huh, you go into an office and it's like the fanciest. It has the best view. It's got the sleek tables and the chairs and like the best snacks ever and the pantry of all. Red flag. Red flag. What are you doing with my money? Doing all
Right.
that stuff. Is that really what is attracting your top talent? Probably not, to tell you the truth. So I think we're done with those days a bit. I think there's a definite uh, prudence now, perhaps, in founder mindset. Like, be in the garage. Go back to the garage. I think those days, yeah, I think those days are here again in that type of mindset. I like it. I think investors are looking for that too. They don't want to see your palatial office that you took over on the top real estate mark in Soho for New York City. That is happening, to be clear. But it's a different era
Well, that's good.
in flash and spend,
I'd
my
say that's a
opinion.
good thing.
So I do not wish to see 2021 again because it was ridiculous. And like everything we know, everything's on a pendulum. And of course it's going to swing back. That's what we're in right now. We're on the swing back.
Well, good. Well, as we wind down here, any
Yes.
any final bits of advice we could Be sure to, the audience, be sure to go to Amazon, look up Flack Fairy.
Thank you. Thank you, Offstar. Thanks for the plug.
Um,
Yeah, the bit of advice is
yeah, go ahead.
read this in a weekend. Yes, you can. That's like the tactical type of thing. But also, it is, like VC dollar raising, a relationship-based game. It matters who your relationships are. Now, you can go, I don't have any relationships in VC. Like, I don't. Yeah, then you got to start on square one to convince people to give you millions of dollars. Yes, it's the same thing in media. Same thing. So how, you can do it yourself. You can do it, and that's what this book provides. But just know, like raising capital, public relations, storytelling is a relationship-oriented practice. So just keep that in mind. There's no AI that's going to get you your Bloomberg article or your New York Times piece or your venture capitalist to be like, oh my gosh, I saw you in 19 different places and I have to invest. That's going to be still a relationship-driven initiative.
Well, good. Well, I look forward to it. Well,
me too. What a time to be alive.
Absolutely. And speaking of relationships, I've always appreciated ours. So thank you very much, Beck.
Thank
I
you,
really
Alistair.
enjoyed it.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, hi, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that episode of the Venture Variety Show. And I hope you enjoyed listening to Beck Bamberger. Please remember to like and subscribe to this video. I'm on all the platforms, but I prefer it if you go to YouTube, where you can also check out my other podcast, The AI Cognitive Shift, which I do in collaboration with AInews.com. And as always, just, give me your feedback and suggestions. If you have ideas for future guests I should bring onto the show, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. For now, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.